Hey everyone, and welcome to my review looking back at the inaugural Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. So the first time the Formula One went to Saudi Arabia, and the race certainly did not disappoint. And you look at the street circuit itself, kind of similarities to Singapore, but it was quite tight. Overtaking was pretty difficult, but the top three of Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, and Valtteri Bottas. Yeah, really entertaining weekend drama from start to finish. From Charles Leclerc's um, horrific crash in free practice. Then you had the Max Verstappen, who was on for a phenomenal lap in qualifying, and then puts the car um, in the barrier. When, like I say, when he was on an absolute flyer in Q3, um, and then we saw the action-packed race, and certainly did not disappoint the race in Saudi Arabia. And I think as a neutral, we all wanted it to go down to the final race, and we've now got that wish. Now both Lewis and Max level on points going into the final race of the season. Max ahead because he's won more races in 2021, but I think we're going to be in for an absolute classic at Abu Dhabi. But also the fact that obviously the Abu Dhabi would have changed the track as well. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays out, whether that will suit the Red Bull or if that will suit the Mercedes. So really exciting race to look forward to in Abu Dhabi, and I certainly can't wait for the weekend, the final Grand Prix weekend of 2021. But we're going to talk about Lewis Hamilton and talk about Max Verstappen, and I guess we have to talk about the penalties that were given to Max Verstappen. Were they fair? I think so. I think the right penalties, right decisions were made. Could maybe say Verstappen have been given a grid drop maybe for Abu Dhabi. I'm not so sure. The penalties I think were right. I think in the first instance, when Verstappen got by Lewis at turn one, it was clear that Verstappen um, overtook Lewis off the track. So you can understand why Verstappen in that instance got penalised. Um, and then when it appeared that Verstappen did outbrake Lewis, I think it was lap 37. So I think Verstappen was told to let Lewis go by. Could he have moved more to the right? I think yes he should have. And then obviously Lewis would have been able to do that, get by straightforward. But then had Lewis got by without losing part of his front wing, then Verstappen would then have had the opportunity to use the DRS to get by Lewis. But yeah, I do think the penalties were fair. And you could argue that the penalties were too lenient for Verstappen. But what I would say from Max's point of view, look, we all know he's a fantastic driver. There's no getting away from that, and he is without doubt the future of Formula One, alongside the likes of Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, so many other young drivers as well. Max is the future of Formula One, and he's got so many years left in his career. I think he just needs to, know when to race and when not to race. And if you know what I mean, when it comes to close combat, when those close battles, he just needs to, when he knows he's fighting a lost cause, just needs to let go. Yeah, so I just think Verstappen just needs to cut that little bit of aggression from his driving. And when he did do that brake test on Lewis, that was dangerous, I must admit. But as I say, we know Max is a quality driver. We know that he just needs to think about what no the way he's driving. He just needs to have to think about it and yeah, come come back stronger for Abu Dhabi. But a great win for Lewis Hamilton. For Mercedes as well. Really good weekend for them in the constructors battle against Red Bull. With Sergio Perez DNFing through no fault of his own. Um, yeah, so really unfortunate that for Checo. But with Mercedes, with Lewis winning, with Valtteri Bottas finishing third, so just pipping Esteban Ocon on the line. Not the first time we've seen Valtteri do that. Did see something similar in Azerbaijan. I can't remember what year it was when he got by Lance Stroll in Williams on the final lap of the on the finishing straight, and was able to do exactly the same against Esteban Ocon. So yeah, Valtteri has a history of that, and it wasn't a bad race actually from Valtteri. He's one of those drivers who wasn't who yeah, Valtteri, as I say, had a not a bad race at all. And look, obviously wasn't able to get anywhere near Verstappen and excuse me, Verstappen and Lewis, but no, I think he did the best job that he could, and finishing third. I mean that Mercedes picked up some big points from Saudi Arabia compared to Red Bull. So yeah, good weekend for Mercedes, and yeah, it's all definitely all to play for going into the final race in Abu Dhabi. And I just mentioned about Esteban Ocon. Look, Esteban was one of those drivers who did benefit from the first red flag that came out, which meant that those who hadn't pitted were able to then to benefit from a no, from a free pit stop. But you have to give Esteban credit, being able to take advantage of those situations when they come, and he didn't exactly fall, too far, back, after, after leading, well, I say leading, but you know what I mean, starting from the front, um, yeah, at one of the restarts. So yeah, so not a bad. Obviously, Esteban would have been gutted to have just missed out on the podium, but some more good points for him, for Alpine as well. And speaking of fine performances, a fine performance from Daniel Ricciardo as well. Look, you could argue it's McLaren now too far behind to finish third in the constructors ahead of Ferrari. But nonetheless, like Esteban, Daniel was one of those drivers who was able to benefit from that first red flag. And yeah, Daniel actually did a good job. Wasn't quite able to hold off Valtteri Bottas, who Valtteri was able to get by the Aussie, but even so, really good drive from Daniel Ricciardo and a good fifth place finish for him. Another solid job from Pierre Gasly, one of the drivers without doubt of the season, and yeah, with AlphaTauri, I think there are a lot of positives that they can take from this year. Obviously, rookie in Yuki Tsunoda. It's not been a straightforward season for Yuki. There have been mistakes that he has made, but I think he will learn from those mistakes. And we've seen flashes of brilliance from Yuki this year. We've seen, maybe not enough, but we've seen enough glimpses to show that actually Yuki has got a bright future. So if he can cut out those mistakes going into 2022, and if he can score points more regularly, then I think AlphaTauri could potentially be a team to watch out for next year with the youth and experience of Sonoda and Gasly. So as I say, really good drive from Pierre Gasly, solid. Another great performance in qualifying from Gasly, and once again, he put in another fine result, fine performance in races as well. Ferrari, both of Ferraris, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. I think they would have liked a bit more from the weekend. Obviously, it didn't get off to the best of starts for Charles, who had that crash in free practice. Thankfully, he was okay, and of course, we saw the crashes for Mick Schumacher as well. So thankfully, him, Sergio Perez, Nikita Mazepin as well. So all those who were involved in crashes this weekend. So thankfully they were all okay. But yeah, I think Ferrari would have liked a little bit more from the weekend, but even so, more solid points for the team. More or less consolidates their place, third place in the constructors, and yeah, not a bad weekend for Ferrari. And Carlos Sainz actually was one of those drivers who, once again, starting low down and able to make his way into the points. So a really good drive from the Spaniard. And speaking of good drives, really good drive from Antonio Giovinazzi as well. I think the last four races, I think he's made it three times into Q3. But recently, with Antonio, he hasn't been able to convert those strong qualifying performances into points. But this time he was able to do that, and I'm really happy for Antonio. Obviously, look, he'll be gutted that he will have lost his seat in Formula One. But a really good drive from Antonio. There's no getting away from that, and a solid weekend for the Italian. We know he's going into Formula E next year. Will we see him back in Formula One? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but only time will tell, and you just never know. You never know. Anything can happen. So yeah. So as I say, really good performance from Antonio in the weekend in Saudi Arabia, and for McLaren it was a double points finish with Lando Norris finishing um, in 10th. Not the first time in recent races that he's finished 10th. Look, now Lando he had a good qualifying session on Saturday, and he's one of the losers. You could argue in the race, especially when that first red flag came out. So he lost out basically, and then from then on, it was really more of a recovery job for Lando. And you know what, it was a good drive from him. So yeah, decent result for McLaren, and not a bad weekend for them at all. So we go to the final race of the season of 2021 in Abu Dhabi, and I can't wait. I really can't wait. Honestly can't call who will be um, Crown World Champion. Yes, Lewis has the momentum. Mercedes have the momentum going into Abu Dhabi. The sport can do funny things, and it's a one-off now. It's all to play for. You could argue it's a case of the fact that everyone's starting on zero, and it's a case of winner takes it all. So I think we're going to be in for a real classic in Abu Dhabi. I can't call it, and I don't think many people will be able to at this point. But as a neutral, no, we wanted um we wanted the championships to go down to the final race. We've got that wish, and the fact that both Lewis and Max are level on points, I think just spices it up as well. Also, when you look at the incidents in Saudi Arabia between both drivers as well, I think that's only going to intensify the battle in Abu Dhabi as well. So, a lot to look forward to in Abu Dhabi, but I will look ahead to more of that later on this week when I do my preview. But that's the end of my review of the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix. If you want to talk things Formula One, I'm on Twitter at Baggies20, and I'm also on Instagram at Manish Patel 87. Have a great week, all of you, and I will catch up with you all soon when I do my preview for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the season finale of this thrilling Formula One season. Take care, everyone.